Today's episode is filmed at Re Social, a comfy and cozy event space that you can rent for $25 an hour. Re Social is located at the promenade at Sungai Hancing, and here you can host birthday parties, bridal showers, pop ups, private dinners, and even art exhibitions. And it's right next to Re's Cafe should you want to get your coffee or matcha fix. Thank you, Re Social, for sponsoring today's location. Let's support community creating small businesses and follow them on Instagram at ris.social and book your events at Reese today. Lailatul Zubaidah, aka Z. Welcome to Easy Does It.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just to repeat what I mentioned to you earlier, it feels surreal to have you here because I first discovered you on LinkedIn. I think most of your posts, especially about your career and you raising two special needs children, got a lot of people's attention, and you were just very authentic in what you shared. And then, funnily enough, after that, I opened up like guest suggestions from my guests, and I wasn't surprised when they suggested you. So quite a number of people said, "Oh, bring in Lailatul Zubaidah, bring in Lailatul Zubaidah," and I was like, "Okay, sure, one day, obviously." And then like Andang Jo, I wanted to have you on, and then funnily enough, one day I received a direct message.
Yeah.
I was like, "Siapa niya? Live with Hassan and Fatimahan ya?" And then lepas satu, yeah, you sent in a lovely message, which I appreciate very much. And then I was like, obviously, I took the opportunity to tell you that I wanted to have you on. And then even then, it took quite a bit of time for me to.
That was in April when
That
I
was in
messaged
April, right?
you. It was in
Yeah.
April. Yeah.
And then, because I was on a break from doing podcasting at that time. And then now, alhamdulillah, we're back. And then, yeah, we're here.
We're here, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so but how do you feel today?
Pretty good actually. I don't know too much. In all honesty, I
Okay.
don't know too much about what you do, but I
Alright.
think today that's probably a saving grace for me. I'm buzzing a little bit with preparation for events that are coming up.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm juggling a lot at
Okay.
the moment, live events. And of course, my businesses, all that lah.
Yeah.
Korea.
Okay, we're gonna get into that because even when I clicked on your Instagram profile, the first thing I see is that on your bio you said I did my part, and then you also tagged like 6 other accounts, which obviously I'm assuming are all like either your NGOs or like the businesses that you own.
Yeah.
But first, before we get into that, for the listeners who don't know who you are, in your own words, who is Lailatul Zubaidah? Who is this person sitting in front of me? And why do you do the things that you do? What is your story?
So, well, I answered this earlier, right?
Yeah.
Who I am.
Mm.
Well, still, as I said to you, I think I'm still trying to figure that out every day. But I think what I've set for myself, which is helpful, I think, are my goals.
Okay.
My purpose. So I believe in being of service to others. It's something that it's a core belief for me. And memang pun, from the time I served government pun, I was a judicial officer. So I served as a magistrate for a long time. 20 years, almost 20 years, until I had Fatima. So, I was already serving the country back then. And it's something that I am happily carrying out lah, but just in a different context.
Okay.
So now I'm in private sector. And so who I am? I'm just an ordinary girl with hopes and dreams and a lot of responsibility
Okay.
now,
Yeah.
with my children and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just trying to marry responsibility, passion, into one big space, where that can all happen fluidly,
Yeah.
and seamlessly. Yeah.
When do you think your story began? Your journey? Is there a point in your life when you think back, that was when it started, everything. And don't worry about like going as far back, because again, like we're here to get to know you. I'm here to get to know you. Like you can take me as far back as however comfortable you want. Like,
Yeah. You know, we have many life-defining moments.
Yep.
Yeah. We change. We change. The things that happen in our lives will definitely have impact.
Yeah.
Sometimes positive ones and sometimes negative ones. I think losing my parents, I think in 2014 was a big thing for me. But in hindsight, I think it gave me or equipped me for the things that happened after. So I had to deal with loss, right? I had to deal with grief. And, I think I will just openly share that I had to deal with a fair bit of sort of mental health challenges at the time, because it was huge, you know, losing both parents in that same year.
Yeah.
And you think that, you know, when you're caring after or caring for someone who's been sick for a while, that you'd be prepared to lose. But the reality of it is that you're never prepared for loss. So what happened after I lost my parents was I went through a very dark period of dealing with anxiety and, of course, you know, depression.
Yeah.
Depression, yeah. And, I had to take time off from work. So that was a life-defining moment for me. But, you know, I came through.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Wow.
Alhamdulillah.
Did you feel like you had to deal with it on your own? Did you console? Did you like seek comfort in anyone? Family members or friends?
Well, I have to say, you know, my sister was, you know, a rock for me. My colleagues, even at the time, you know, were very supportive of that challenging period. Yeah. But a lot of it was, I think, holding on to faith.
Yeah.
Even when it seemed impossible.
At that time, right?
And also remembering, I think, that I had 3 very young children at the time. So it was all, you know, it was all for them.
Yeah. Okay.
And but as I said, you know, in hindsight, it just sort of equipped me for what was to come. And Hassan and Fatima came much later. Well, not too long later, maybe 3-4 years later. So by when I had Fatima, and then I was faced with, you know, her diagnosis. And then shortly, not long after that, Hassan's diagnosis with autism. I think I was a little bit more tagap lah ni orang.
Yeah. But Hassan came first, right?
No, so yeah, Hassan is he's 8 now.
Yeah.
Fatima's 6.
Okay.
But the red flags for his diagnosis came up during Fatima's when I was pregnant with Fatima. So when Fatima was in utero. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing what their diagnoses are?
Yeah. So Hassan has autism. He's on the spectrum.
Okay.
And Fatima has Charge syndrome, a very rare genetic disorder. And she's the only one with it in Brunei. Yeah, which doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
But as I said, you know, at that stage in my life, I think I was equipped. And I think equipped by the fact that before that I had gone through so much already, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, you get more resilient, you get tougher.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you know, it's such a, maybe a cliche, but things don't get easier, but you get stronger. Alhamdulillah.
You mentioned that day when you lost both of your parents, you had 3 kids. And then 4 or 5 years later, Hassan and Fatima came.
That's right.
When did you become a single mother? Or the timeline to when did you like...
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming, Lenny, because...
Yes. Okay. So when I lost my mom, yes, I was on my own.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on my own. So I was a single mom of 3 boys.
Yeah.
3 boys. And then I think a year after, after I recovered from that very dark period, I remarried and had Hassan and Fatima.
Okay, that part I didn't know. Okay. So you are currently married now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Can you take me back to the moment when you were pregnant with Fatima and then you found out that Hassan was diagnosed officially? Like where were you? What were you doing? Like, how did you receive the information? What was in your head at that time?
Fatima was born in November.
Okay.
Her birthday is on the 19th of November. For 2 weeks, right? For 2 weeks, we had no idea what was wrong with her. We just knew that she had a lot of problems. She was put in the NICU, which is the neonatal intensive care unit.
Is it here in Brunei?
In Brunei, yes, in Brunei, sorry. And before that, Hassan had already been referred to the Child Development Center for assessment, and all that.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult pregnancy for me. I think at 8 weeks, I thought I lost her because I was bleeding, just many things that happened along the way. But she's such a tough cookie, mashallah, really. And I think that was very, in hindsight again, her spirit, right? Her fighting spirit, ini sebenarnya was made known, I think, to us, to me, even when she was still in the tummy. Yeah, and so she was born, and it was so funny though, I think maternal instinct is something that's very real.
Okay.
I cannot explain why. I think 2 days before she was born, on Instagram, I was just suddenly looking at NICU babies.
Okay.
And at that point, I had no idea that there was anything wrong with her. Because I went through all the
checkups.
You have anomaly scans, right? Nothing came up.
Okay.
So completely unprepared for what we went through lah. Anyway, so we only got Fatima's diagnosis 2 weeks after she was born because the neonatologist was away at a conference. She gave the news to me, and then 2 days later, and I was still in hospital at the time.
Yeah, recovering.
And also waiting for Fatima to be discharged, not knowing that it would be another 18 months before kami keluar hospital. Yeah, so
That's
2 days, so
plus.
there I was on the ground floor of Ripas Hospital, the children's, the pediatric pediatric clinic. And so they told me, they gave the formal diagnosis that Hassan was also on the spectrum. And then so suddenly, I don't know, and like in just 1 minute, my whole life just, this might get me a little bit emotional.
Okay. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's okay. Get a tissue.
Thanks. So, anyway, yeah. I think I cried for what, maybe a good 18 hours. Talked to, one of my best friends, and but as I said, coming back to being equipped, I just get on with it, You just get on with it, and I thought, okay, I've got 2 children now with special needs. What did I do? First, I got on Facebook. Joined a Facebook group on charge syndrome. I had no one else to ask in Brunei.
Yeah.
Doctors didn't even know what it was.
Oh my gosh, that must be really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because like not only it's the first and so far only, right? Like who could have been there to like assure you and like macam also educate you? So you had to, so that your first instinct was to just go on Facebook and just find whatever information you could find about it. That was.
Yeah. And really, in a situation like this, it's really the only way you can empower yourself. It's to get as much knowledge about it, That's how we overcome fear.
True. For people who don't know, what is charge syndrome?
So charge syndrome, it's an acronym for multiple congenital birth defects in a child.
Okay.
So charge, I can't remember now off the top of my head because I'm just so exhausted.
Okay, it's okay.
Charge is, first, the C is for coloboma.
Oh, so it's...
Yeah, it's an acronym, for multiple issues.
Okay.
Actually, so Fatima also had, the A stands for atresia, which is like the passageway, a nasal passageway, your airway.
Yeah, okay.
So Fatima was very lucky. She only had unilateral choanal atresia. Many charged children are born with bilateral.
Oh, so only satu.
And and the prognosis for children who are born with bilateral choanal atresia, it's very bleak usually. Yeah. So for Fatima, she had the heart issue, the gastro issues. She's legally deafblind because the left side of her body was compromised by her condition. So she has facial paralysis on the left side of her face, but it makes her very cute. She has the Popeye smile.
The Popeye
She does,
smile.
yeah. You can see pictures of her on the Instagram.
Yeah. Sometimes, like I mentioned to you earlier, right? I've never had a proper conversation about special needs or disabilities, people with disabilities in my personal life or even like in my professional setting. And you highlighted like a really good point just now. Like, because...
No surprise. I mean, there's no surprise there. As I said, the thing about disability is the relatability factor. Unless you are living with disability yourself, or you have a family member with disability, you're never gonna understand it.
Yeah.
You're never gonna be able to understand the challenges, that come with living with disability, whether as the individual himself or herself, or as a family member.
Yeah.
And so that's why we do what we do. The Impian Project. We are trying to get people to have some insight, even if it's not a complete understanding of how disability can impact one's life.
You said you stayed in the hospital for like 18 months.
Yeah, and we didn't just stay in a Brunei hospital. We were transferred to Singapore.
Okay.
So I lived out of a suitcase for a good 12 months.
Yeah. Did you have to pause everything in your life to just like...
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got my children, my 3 boys at the time. We were doing like revision over WhatsApp. You know, the kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I had to be in Singapore for Fatima.
Also
I had
be
Hassan
present, yeah.
in Brunei, who was also facing, you know, his own challenges. And then I had my other 3 boys. So I have 5 children kan in total.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just trying to coordinate lah.
Yeah. Do you remember what was like in your mind at that time? Like macam, how do you find that strength?
You really have to go back to God. There's no human, really, who can get you through times like that.
Yeah.
No.
That's true. Maybe during some time, but you know, at the end of the day, when you're alone, that's when it's like, I think
Yeah.
only Allah can
Yeah.
be there.
I learned a lot of things during that time. I always say that's the time that I understood the concept of reda, tawakal, you know, because honestly, you don't really have any other choice when you're sitting outside the OT over and over again, just sitting there by yourself, waiting for your daughter to come out and hopefully survive operation after operation. So she's had about 18 in her very short life.
What you've been through is like incredible. It's
Well, you know, I think I'm meant to go through this, you know, for a reason. So jalani sajalah.
yeah, and especially like for her to like, I can just imagine, like I know like deep down, like because she's still a child now,
Yeah.
but I think once she's grown up and she understands her condition, like she will be so grateful for you.
Okay, you're really gonna make me cry now.
Because she will know the sacrifices that you've made for her. And also for Hassan too.
Yeah.
Like, hearing you share all this is like, I don't even have words to say. Like, because, so, give yourself like a huge pat on the back. Honestly, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you know, I also draw my strength and inspiration from other moms who are in my shoes, you know. Many who have, you know, come and gone before me, you know. They've gone through even harder, you know, more devastating experiences. They've lost their children. I've met many, you know, so there's always still something to be grateful for. And I think I love what I do now because I learned so much, you know, from all these moms. So they keep me tough. And, you know, what I do on the Impian Project for all the families, it's not work for me, you know. It's not work for me. It's purpose.
Yeah, your purpose.
Yeah.
When did you like decide to do the Impian Project? Is there any events leading up to that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I quit my job. Kan?
Okay, so did you this year? Wait, sorry.
That was April. I resigned.
Like just this April?
In 2020.
Okay, 2020
I
April.
resigned because, you know, for Fatima, her medical condition, a child is lucky if they survive the first year. Yeah.
Oh my
So I wasn't, you know, I wasn't sure whether time would be on our side. I didn't want to have any regrets.
Yeah.
So I just took a leap of faith. And I thought, you know, no, I don't want to stay in this job if it means I have to put other things first before my children. Yeah. So at that point, I had served, I think, almost 20 years. A lot of people ask me, are you sure? You know, you're at the height of your career. I had made judge, or, you know, a year before that. So, I mean, I was at a high point of my career. you know, you do what's right lah. You do what's right for you and your family, because, you know, it's just a job. And then, well, this is the beauty of tawakkul, right? You know, you trust Allah to provide for you. You put in the work, you tie your camel, and He will provide. And then after that, Fatima stabilized, and then a whole new world opened up for me. I ended up starting my own law firm. Went into business. I got busy with the Impian Project. So it's a beautiful life now.
Yeah, your riziki doubled, tripled, quadrupled after that.
And this is why.
Yeah.
This is why we need to trust Allah in the face of adversity. Really. I mean, I'm living proof.
Yeah. When all of this happened, right, have you ever questioned, like, why is this happening to you?
Of course. I think in the beginning, I think anyone would ask that question. Why is this happening? But I have long stopped asking that question. And now it's because, you know, things continue to happen, you know, the challenges. I don't think anyone is ever free from challenges that keep coming up, you know, different kinds of challenges. Now I ask myself, what am I supposed to be learning here? Atu saja,
Yeah.
you know, what is this situation meant to teach me?
Yep.
So I don't really ask why.
Okay. Yeah.
I just look forward and I'm like, okay, let's go with this. Let's go with this.
This is the path that you're being put on. Just move forward saja.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, you know, I think all you need to do when you're in a difficult situation is just maintain your resolve. And what I mean by that is that just making sure that everything you do from that point on is not something that Allah wouldn't approve of. Itu saja. Buat yang baik saja. You know, pasang niat.
Yeah.
Pasang niat saja, okay. I mean, I'll share, you know, for me, when in very, very difficult situations, I just say, okay, you know, if this is my ujian for whatever wrongdoing I've done in the past, I hope it cleanses me. And that's very liberating, I think, and it gives you a lot of peace, you know, because it's something that you are willing to accept here.
Yeah.
And I always say, I think it's better that things happen here than when we no longer have opportunity to make up for whatever sins we may have. You know?
What advice would you give, or what can you share to a parent who went through the same events as you did? So, for example, if they found out that there's something wrong with their child, like, obviously, upon hearing the news, like you said, right, macam, it must be hard for them too. But if you could give them an advice, or if you can share with them something, what would you tell them?
So much advice, really, that I could give. But in a nutshell, never give up. Itu saja tu jawapannya. Because not giving up keeps you praying, keeps you learning, keeps you caring for your child, keeps you advocating for your child. I think parents must remember with regular children and apatah lagi, special needs children.
Yeah.
They rely so much on their parent to fight for them. And I have had my moments, when I felt that doctors were not listening. I have had to fight for Fatima.
Can you share like one of the moments?
Well, in Brunei, we had some experiences, which I think, given the circumstances, understandable pulang, because Fatima punya condition, her medical condition is so rare, and there's not a lot of information about it in Brunei. Excuse me. And even doctors have to Google her condition jua. Yeah. So on many occasions, I've had to sort of appeal for greater attention, to be paid to her care. And in the end, after 4 months, I think, of being in the NICU, the ICU itu, after my rayuan lah, for her to be transferred to overseas. Yeah, we finally got a transfer to KKH Women and Children's Hospital in Singapore. And I will forever be grateful to Dato' Isham, Minister of Health, for facilitating all of that. So, His Majesty's government, is very much responsible, I think, for Fatima punya survival.
Alhamdulillah.
She's a very fortunate little girl lah. Yeah. And I think, with that, I think we are very, very fortunate to be citizens of this country.
Yeah.
Because it gave her that opportunity to be attended to by doctors who have seen more charged children.
Yeah.
And even then, in Singapore, there's only 6.
So that's how rare it is.
Yeah, it's 1 in 20,000 in the US. And in Brunei, she's that one statistic, 1 in 440 odd thousand.
The population, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm more now convinced that you may have found your purpose. That is such a... And you're living it. You are fulfilling your purpose.
And I think because I live the purpose, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm not just paying lip service to something I believe in. I have to live it.
Yeah.
Memang pun.
Yes.
My life, right?
Yeah.
I wake up. I wake up and I have Hassan and Fatima. I go to sleep. I have Hassan and Fatima. Day in, day out. It's not just a cause I support. We live it.
After that, how did the Impian Project came about? But it's basically because of the experience that you went through, right? Like you felt like there was a gap there.
Oh,
yeah.
For someone as resourceful as I am, I was still struggling with my new circumstances, my new normal.
Yeah.
Apatah lagi people with, who are not as resourceful as I am, who don't have access to the resources that I have access to. Apalagi diorang.
That's true.
So this was, I wasn't trying to be a martyr or anything like that, but I just thought, wow, if this is something that I can do, then I'm going to start something and take it somewhere. I also was a little bit jobless at the time because I had just resigned. So I went through like this identity crisis. Like I didn't know who I was.
Yeah. You had to find yourself.
I had to find myself all over again. I had worked my whole adult life, and suddenly I had nothing, no job. Not that I didn't have anything, but I wasn't used to just being a mom. I had always been a mom with a career. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That must be really hard.
Yeah, and I kind of like struggled with the whole, oh my God, I'm no longer a judge. I'm no longer doing criminal stuff, because I was a criminal trial magistrate. Yeah. So, and I really enjoy writing my judgments, presiding over cases.
That is so
my
cool.
my love for law is there. As a private practitioner, I'm a little bit hopeless.
Why?
Because it's just not excuse me, it's just not what I like doing. Not that part of the legal world. I'm better hearing cases. Okay. No, hearing cases, deciding cases, writing judgments. That's my forte.
Yeah.
As a private practitioner, I think my partners are way better than I am.
What have you discovered or learned about yourself throughout this whole journey?
Even in the hardest of circumstances, I've kept my heart soft. Yeah. And I think that's really important, because if you don't, then you become very angry and bitter, resentful, and you'll always question, why is this happening to me? So, I don't know. I think it's taught me to embrace life. Just live it lah.
Yeah.
We're all gonna die anyway. So
it's all temporary.
Yeah. So you might as well make the most of it.
Do you think you're way different now than you were before?
Yeah.
100%. Like who is the old Zubaidah?
I have to ask myself, who are you?
Yeah. Who were you before this?
I'm probably softer now as a human being.
In terms of like, were you like hot-headed dulu or okay, wow.
I can still be hot-headed, but I reserve it lah, for when it's necessary.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's like, don't sweat the small stuff, nyorang. I think there's a book on that. Don't sweat the small stuff. I read a lot of books now, on adversity. Okay. So I have practical experience as well as theory. It's a constant quest for wellness, I think, mental wellness. I'm also trying to build my legacy, right? Not just as a parent, but as an individual with dreams. I'm just also very fortunate that a lot of what I do, they're all interconnected.
Like it's all parts of you, right?
Absolutely.
An extension of you. Yeah.
So there is a certain ethos that all my ventures subscribe to.
And what is that ethos?
To serve.
To be of service. Yeah.
To be of service, absolutely. So with the law firm, it's not typical law firm. Right down to its interior. You should come by sometime.
Okay.
Yeah. I was very young when I left public service. It's 40 41, and I thought, wow, I have all this experience under my belt. I've seen so many things in court. My parents gave me, an education, which I'm sayang joy if I just stay at home,
True.
So I set up, I took a leap of faith, did something I said I would never do, which is to set up that law firm. I named it LZ Hussein and Co. Only because my late father once said to me, "Hey, I want to see my name up in neon lights." So that's why it carries the Hussein. Yeah, it's a tribute to him. Just my initials. Yeah. So I that's something I can tick off lah. Yeah. So we've the way that we've done it, myself and my partners, they know how important it is to me that anyone can come through our doors to ask for help. Because as we said earlier, you should be given the freedom to ask for something, because at worst, the response can really only ever be no.
Yeah.
So at the law firm, anyone who has a problem can come through our doors and get a free consultation. For 45 minutes. We will tell them if we can help them, and if we can't, we'll also tell them. So it's a community law firm. And I don't know, I didn't really have a blueprint for that. As I said, as I evolved as a human being, hopefully for the better, I just applied lah. I just applied my learnings to the things that I set up, made sure that it reflected my values, my principles. Cuma itulah.
So is that what you're doing mostly out of all your businesses? Is LZ Hussein & Co. like your main, would you say your main nato?
Has been sort of the main player, I think, in my ecosystem. But I have set up other things. I am a big fan of ADR. I don't know whether you know what that is. It's alternative dispute resolution.
No, what
Mediation is something that is a complementary process to the legal system. So it keeps people out of court.
Okay, I think I know. Yeah.
So I have a Damai mediation. And then, the law firm is 3 years old. We're only turning 4 on the 4th of January.
Next year.
2025.
And soon lah, basically. Congratulations.
Thank you, alhamdulillah. Wow. It's unbelievable. I started off the firm with one other lawyer and one secretary. Alhamdulillah, I think we're 14 now. I didn't do it alone. So I have an amazing managing partner. I have 2 incredible senior partners as well. And then, of course, the team. The team. I have the core team that started off the firm with me, still there, alhamdulillah.
And it just keeps expanding.
Yeah. And I take pride in the fact that my firm is like 100% local. Yeah.
That's amazing.
We take pride in being a teaching firm as well. So, anyone who wants to be great, as a lawyer.
How do you balance everything? Because today she also wants me to ask you that. On top of your what?
That's a good question. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't really have an answer for that.
Okay. I mean, the perk of having your own business, you get to move things around according to your timeline, right? So I guess would you say that that's the case for you? And then you also mentioned that you have an incredible team.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that my days are easier. But because in fact, I think my work schedule is probably more hectic than a person with a 9 to 5 job. I would say. The irony, irony of it. Seriously, it's something that I think about.
That's what people say. You leave your 9 to 5 to work 24/7.
Oh yeah. That's why I say. Well, people say, well, every day is a Sunday, but I'm like, well, I work Sundays.
Yeah. I think that's the misconception people get when they're like, oh, you have your own business, so you can just
I think you have to work harder. I think you have to hustle. You really have to hustle. I have so much respect for people who start businesses. Really, it's so much hard work. What did I get myself into? But it's fulfilling all the same.
Yeah.
I
understand that feeling.
A lot of my fulfillment comes from being able to create jobs. And then I get to work with amazing people like Zara. Yeah. I get to be a part of their progression. And it's just so satisfying to see people go from knowing very little to being just absolute champs. I mean, Zara here, my right hand in life and in everything that I do, can pretty much single-handedly execute a project. Yeah.
You attract amazing people, I can see.
I think I do.
Yeah.
I think I do, and I'm extremely grateful to Allah for that.
Yeah. Talking about that makes me interested to know about your professional side too. How would you say, if I were to ask her, but I'm not going to ask her, if I were to ask her or any of your partners, employees, to describe you as a colleague, mentor, boss, how do you think they would describe you?
For them to describe me, what I think.
It doesn't have to be one word. If you think that they would use that one word to describe you.
I think I'll give you two.
Okay.
One word is vivacious, I think. Okay?
Vivacious.
Oh, vivacious.
Okay.
Oh, God. You smarty pants, you. Vivacious.
Vivacious. Okay.
See, I learned something new today because I thought it was vivacious. Vivacious. And I was Googling it, right?
Okay.
What the definition was. And the Cambridge Dictionary says a vivacious person, especially a woman or a girl, is attractively energetic and enthusiastic.
Okay. But what words did you use to look that definition up?
Well, vivacious.
Oh, okay. Oh, so as in like
I just Googled the definition.
Okay.
And the Collins Dictionary says full of high spirits and animation, lively or vital, and having or displaying tenacity of life.
Tenacity of life.
Which I think is spot on.
Okay.
Yeah. I also think, and I think this is very likely, they'll say I'm tough.
Okay. I agree.
They'll say I'm tough as a boss. I don't know. Am I? I mean, I've had people say to me that it's hard to keep up with me because I don't really know when to stop working. So I'm always having to explain, hey, it's okay. I message you at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm just parking it, yeah? I'm just parking it. I don't expect a response until it's actually reasonable, until it's a reasonable time to respond.
Yeah.
But that's how I am, I think, because I'm very impulsive, very spontaneous, I literally wake up with new ideas, every other day. And the beauty, I think, of being where I am now is that I can execute as and when.
Yeah.
It's very different when you are working for an organization, so very different from life as I knew it lah.
Okay, because I was mentioning that you attract, I would say you attract high performing people, and I feel like even if you don't attract people who are there yet, I feel like just because of who you are, your actions inspire them to become high performers. I mean, they have to keep up with you,
I
right?
think I gravitate towards people who just need that break, that one break, to make them into the person that they're meant to be.
Yeah.
I have seen, the people who have worked with me previously, become outstanding individuals, in their chosen career. They've moved on, from working with me and whatnot. And yeah.
So now I want to know, how did you first stumble into the legal industry? Is that
into law?
Into law, yeah.
Okay. I did my A-levels di Maktab Duli.
All right.
But then I had a slave driver of a mom. She had very high expectations of me, set very high standards for me. And really probably thought too highly of me. I don't know. But anyway, one day she suggested, hey, I have an idea. Why don't you do your A-levels in 1 year? And I'm like, what? Because at that point, I had really, really messed up my lower six segment of the 2-year course. Kan A-levels 2 tahun.
Yes.
So
what made her say that?
I don't know. I think for her, for my mom, as I said, she, and I think it's I see myself doing it with my children as well. I tell them to reach for the moon and the stars. Yeah. So I think this is my mom's version lah of aiming for the moon and the stars.
Yeah.
You do your A-levels in 1 year. And I was sort of dying inside because I thought, oh my God, she doesn't even know that my lower six punya exam results are like macam not for parental consumption.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when she said that, I was like, okay, now how do I tell the principal against the fact that I've already kind of failed my lower six, that I want to take my exam in June instead of November. But anyway, I did what my mom told me to do, and then signed up as a private student to do my A-levels in June, which allowed me to go to university for September.
Yeah.
Okay. So with all that drama to figure out, I don't really think too hard about the degree that I wanted to do. Plus, my parents got divorced when I was 16.
Okay.
So I didn't really have anyone ask me, Zubaidah, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't really have that conversation with my parents. They spent a great deal of time warring with each other. So I don't really have the best childhood memories. Yeah. I think it's also why I'm very independent. Because I had to figure out a lot of things for myself by myself, because I also didn't want to burden, I think, my parents with my issues, I think, you know, my school issues. So I think after my degree, my mom found my report card in my room, which I had signed by myself. I just forged my
your mom's signature.
Yeah, my parents' signature, just so that one, I wouldn't have to bother them. 2, they were hardly around, and 3, that it wouldn't become an issue between them. You know, that I was doing badly in school. Because I really didn't do too well. Okay.
So that was the intention behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Just avoid any conflict that may arise from that.
Yeah. I feel, in hindsight, very parentified. You know, which I hope that I don't do with my own children, or that I never did. Yeah. Mudah-mudahan sajalah. Yeah. But I'm not saying that it's without its advantages. You become very responsible. You learn responsibility, accountability. The only thing is you really just lose your childhood completely. Itu saja lah.
You had to grow up faster than
very
normal.
Very quickly, I think. But that's okay, because I think it's taught me as a parent to do things for my children that I never got to experience. So, coming back to your question, I signed up for politics and economics in the UCAS form. You have to fill out, you know, for university and all that.
Okay.
I picked a university, and then I just saw politics and economics, and I was doing a subject at that time at Maktab Duli, public affairs, which I really enjoyed, because it was about the workings of the British political system. So I thought it was the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So I signed up for politics and economics, went off to uni, walked into an economics lecture, and then realized with a lot of dread in my stomach, wow, you know, I guess you're supposed to have done at least some economics before signing up for a degree. So that was the start of a brand new chapter of chaos. So I was 18 in England for the first time, studying and all that. But, and I was living in halls of residence, My flatmate was a Cypriot girl who ended up being my best friend at university. Her name was Haria. And after sort of like 2 weeks of suffering and, you know, these classes that I didn't understand, so I said to her, Haria, I said, you know, what are you doing? You know, what degree are you doing? Desperate lah sudah. What are you doing? Because I really don't understand what I'm doing, right? Oh, ya Allah. So she goes, well, I'm doing law. And I said, oh, wow. Maybe that's something I should, you know, be thinking about. Can I look at your books? So I looked at her books and I thought, that looks really interesting, you know. Wow, you know, that looks really interesting. She goes, what's wrong? And I said, well, I really, really don't know what I'm doing in these classes. I understand nothing. And then she goes, oh, well, you know, my dad knows the dean of law. Okay. And then I was like, really? And then, oh yeah, because I did I ended up doing my A-levels in 1 year, kan?
Yeah.
But because of the circumstances, right? I mean, I'm not going to get like 3 A's, right? So I managed to get myself 1 B and 1 C because I did accounting and public affairs. So I managed to get 2 A levels. And, you know, to do law, really, you have to have macam 3 A levels, but like at least 2 A's and a B. And I was at a university which was quite highly ranked, I think, for law, you know. So can you imagine? So this girl is trying to do me a favor and saying, well, my dad can talk to the dean of law, and I only have 2 A levels, a miserable B and a C, okay? Like miles away from that 2A and a B result atu ba.
Oh.
So it's like, tapi nda jo apa ni orang? Masih jo macam, oh, I think I want to try. Right? So she sets something up for me, and then suddenly I have an appointment with the dean of law. And so I go to this appointment, and then I'm talking to the dean, and he goes, so you want to try your hand at law? And I'm like, yeah. Like I know what I'm talking about, and I know nothing about law.
Oh my gosh.
And he goes, okay, I'll put you on probation.
Wow.
And then I said, yeah, okay, I'll take it. So then I have to, at that time I had to change courses. You know, I was 4 weeks into the term, change courses. I had already missed 1 month of lectures. Yeah, as a first year law student. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about law.
Yeah.
That was how I got into law. I really just stumbled into it that way. But then I found that I was good at it. You know, it was so practical. It was, I don't know, I just loved it. Yeah. And I still love it, you know, for what it is, for what it does for people, for how justice, you know, is dispensed, for how it deals with injustice. Yeah.
Ah, very interesting.
Yeah. And so sometimes you really have to fake it till you make it.
So in this case, you were saying that you faked it when you had that interview with the dean.
Yeah.
Just to get that little opening which you got from that from the probation at the.
I just needed an opportunity.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that shaped, you know, how I deal with people who want to make something of themselves.
Yeah, because you were given the opportunity.
I
so
was
now
given
you want to give it back to those who really want it and who need it.
Yes.
I see, full circle now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ah.
I'm glad you understand.
Yeah.
But honestly, you know, if not for that faith in me, you know, by the dean, I think my life would have taken a different path altogether.
Okay, another side of you unearthed.
Yeah.
So as a person in law, right, how would you say, did that also help you in dealing with conflicts in your like personal life?
I think I am very conciliatory.
What's that?
I don't like conflict.
Okay.
You know.
As in,
like, I try to avoid it as much as possible. And I think it's a misconception. I think it's a common misconception about me that I am aggressive, I think. Maybe because of my character.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's no beating around the bush that, you know, I think character-wise, you know, I'm a Leo.
Oh, you are a Leo.
Yeah, I'm a Leo. But I'll tell you one fun fact as well. I'm also my zodiac sign is on the cusps as they call it. So I'm like Cancer and Leo. So you know,
This is so surreal.
macam it's like full moon and then Zubaidah was born.
Yes. I know
So-
exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
And this is already getting me like too excited.
Are you, yes? Okay. Not weirded out, but excited.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, because like although there's also whenever I have this conversation with my friends, they always think like I believe in it I use it as guidance to understand like people. Some is a hit, some is a miss, but I don't like believe in it 100%. But I use it as a basis. So I'm a Cancer. Yeah. So I know a few Leos. Yeah, and I understand when you say you're a cusp, so it's like borderline like sometimes you don't mind attention, but sometimes you're like, give me a break.
Yeah.
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 I understand that completely. If you want to go deeper, so I'm a Cancer sun and moon, but my rising is a Leo.
Okay, that's a little
Okay,
bit
that's
too
a little bit
deep
too
for
deep.
me. But yeah.
Basically, you're a cusp, but me, that's like part of my big three. So even then, it's like sometimes a bit contradictory for me.
So yeah, essentially,
Yeah.
I think people like you and me, maybe you can't put into a box because we can fit into so many boxes.
So many boxes.
So that's why. Yeah, I think I would say the same about me.
So, but you don't. A lot of people think you're confrontational. But
Yeah,
you don't think you
because I'm vocal.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
vocal and I will say what's on my mind. You don't know that, right? So automatically people think, you need, you know, macam always
Aggressive,
ready and
To
up for a
pounce,
fight
yeah.
but no, you know, I also like to talk things out. And I'm such a perfectionist that I think everything can be fixed.
Yeah.
I want everything to be fixed.
Okay.
You know, so I can't stand unresolved conflict. I can't stand not clearing the air. I must know what I'm dealing with, whether we're still fighting or not fighting. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cuma itulah.
Do you feel like you have a big ego?
No.
Oh, so you're okay. Okay, that's good.
I can be more of a doormat than anything else.
Oh no.
Believe it or not.
Okay.
I think if you ask my sister will say I'm.
You try to cater to everybody as much as
I
you can.
identify, you know, like, you know, this Instagram, like sometimes they talk about the whole people pleasing things and
Yeah.
how you're supposed to fix that.
Yeah.
I think too many posts like resonate with me, you know, so
It's a sign.
I do know that I probably have a bit of a problem there.
Yeah.
But again, you know, as you mentioned earlier, you know, I can be too much of a people pleaser, but at the same time, I can also be someone who is very self-aware of the boundaries that I need to put in place.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I like who I am. I don't think there's anything about me that I would change as long as I remain this person who wants to be better every day. Yeah. I think that's who I am.
Yeah.
I just want to be better. Memang pun like part of my doa pun every day, you know, I just want to have the strength to be better as a person and in my faith. And because really, you know, the only competition I have is myself, you know. Your greatest jihad is your own nafs. So I don't really care about other people.
Yeah, and you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like me, I'll like you 10 times back. If you don't like me, yalla tu.
Yeah. Circling back to your children, specifically Hassan and Fatima, right? What have you learned about them? As in, like, what, for example, like traits, personality traits that you've discovered about them, you know? And
Okay, this is a great question.
yeah, and then the second question is, what have they taught you?
Well, Fatima is the only human being, as tiny as she is the only human being who can tell me what to do. She is my boss. And Hassan is an interesting little boy. He is unpredictable. He has Asperger's more than autism.
Okay.
And that just simply means that he has high intelligence, high IQ, right? And it's just a lot for his neuro system to process sometimes. And he makes me laugh. I think that the thing that I love about him is that he says things to me, and suddenly the world's problems or whatever problems that I'm facing at that point in time just evaporate. Because he'll tell me that he wants to go to America tomorrow, and then after that Bangladesh, So
I saw that video.
yeah.
I was like, this is too cute.
And his accent, and all that. Yalla.
Bless him.
Yeah. And then of course, again, and then just coming back to Fatima, Fatima too is strong. And if anything, the two kiddos, as we call them at home, have made me realize yang sempurna is diorang, bukan kita ni. Diorang yang sempurna. So it's very apt that they are called anak syurga.
Yeah. Wow,
right?
That hit me.
Yeah.
That is true, that they are Sampurna.
Sometimes, Izzy, I look back whenever I get that rare 5 minutes to reflect on my life, and all that. As hard as things can be sometimes, really sort of won the lottery, when I was given Hassan and Fatima, my other children too. But Hassan and Fatima specifically, for the gift of realization and not taking things for granted, and just really making every minute count. So many people helped us, during our darkest times, and you can't not be grateful for that. So itulah, so now life is really all about bersyukur, constantly, because when you are grateful, it will always be enough. Always.
Yeah.
You'll never feel left wanting. I'm content. So content. Alhamdulillah.
I want to thank you so much again for being here and for sharing your story. Going into this interview, I knew briefly, like I told you, what I wanted to know about you, right? And I feel like we've only gotten to know a part of you. I'm pretty sure you have so much other facets to you, but the parts that I'm fortunate enough to get to know today is really inspiring. And I know you don't mean to be, and you don't try to become this martyr, but what you've gone through, I hope will, and based on what you've shared, not just in terms of family, motherhood, but also your career, I feel like hopefully anyone who is listening will benefit to this. Your story has so much value to people. It inspired me. I feel like I needed to have this conversation today, and I didn't know that I needed it. So I want to thank you so much for agreeing. And I feel like you said today, what's that word? Serendipity, right?
Yes.
For us to be here. Everything is just aligned. Timing, divine timing. And hopefully one day we'll get to sit together again for round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
if you're willing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to thank you so much.
Yeah. thank you for this opportunity. To share some insight into what life is like really with Hassan and Fatima. I think if I want to say anything, I think I would just repeat what I said earlier about keeping your heart soft, in the hardest of circumstances. It's super helpful. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Done.